Can you see me? Can you hear me? Let me see. I think we're good. I hope you can hear me because it's been a task trying to set this up. I don't usually do Facebook lives. I usually do TikTok lives, but I thought I would do something a little different today because I normally don't get on here and I normally don't do them on here, but I've had a lot of my clients and potential clients, and I keep getting the same questions about starting a new business, about being entrepreneurs. Is it a business or is it a hobby? And so today I really wanted to just jump on here. I'm not going to be too long. I want to keep it down to under an hour, maybe shorter if I can, and really just kind of dive into the difference between a hobby and a business and which one you have. And also, if it is a business, how do you make it a business and how do you sustain it and how do you keep it that way so that you don't lose it? Because most businesses within the first year of starting, they don't last. And so if that is your goal, to have a business instead of a hobby, then these are the things that you're going to need to look for and look to do moving forward. So my name is Asia Randall, or Asia Smiles, whichever you prefer. I like to smile. And I am a project manager. I've been a project manager since 2018. And then I also am an entrepreneur. So I've had my business since 2016. And I really had it more so like a hobby until about 2020 when the COVID happened and stuff, and I started to transition. Well, when I started to transition, then those were the problems that I started to see within my business as I started to transition, and I started to see the things that I didn't understand before. And so these are the things that I want to address with you and kind of bring to your attention, so that way moving forward you know what to do and what to look out for and what to see if it's viable. Is it sustainable? Can you sustain it, and how to sustain it, so that way you don't have those same pitfalls, those same problems. So really the gist of it is, I really want to get you from point A to point B. I don't want to give you too much information so that way you get bombarded and you get overloaded, but I do want to give you some tips and some pointers so that you can start to put these things in your mind and put these things on paper. So I would ask that you get a pen and paper so that you can write some of this down, so that way moving forward you can have it and kind of look over it as you progress along, because things are changing rapidly and there's a lot of money to be exchanged, right? The wealth gap is changing. By 2030, it's going to be a completely different change. And so it's time to essentially start that business if you want to start it. You know, we just got out of COVID. And so if you're feeling like you want to do something new, if you feel like you want to do something different, just jump out there and do it. And so this is going to be alive. That way you can know if you have a hobby or a business. So without further ado, we're going to just jump into it. So according to the IRS, this is what they say. The IRS says a hobby is any activity that a person pursues because they enjoy it without the intention of making a profit. And businesses operate with the intention of making a profit. So based on this, just on the IRS, this is what they say. So if you have a hobby, you don't intend on making a profit on it. If you have a business, you intend on making a profit. And so in the day that we live in right now, you may have a hobby, but you may decide that you want to turn it into a business. Well, if you decide to turn it into a business, how viable is that? And also, if you decide that you want to turn it into a business, what part of the business are you going to stay in, as opposed to what part of the business you're going to pass on somebody else? So let's say if you were baking cakes. If you bake cakes and that is your passion, that's your hobby, well, if you decide to make that a business, are you going to continue to bake the cakes, or are you going to get somebody else to bake the cakes and they run the business, or how are you going to structure it? Because sometimes if you turn your hobby into a business, then you lose the momentum and the fun that you had in it because it was just a hobby. But now that you turned it into business, it's straining and it may put strain on you. So you really have to figure out which one is it that you're really looking for, a hobby or a business. So let's jump into it. the 3 things that you would need to look at, and these are I got my notes here. The 3 things you're going to need to look at is who your market is, like who is your target audience. Number 2, knowing your numbers. And number 3, knowing how to market to your target audience. So knowing your market means if you don't know who your market is, you're going to spend a lot of time trying to find that out. If you don't know your numbers, you're going to spend a lot of money trying to figure out what it is. Because if you don't know your numbers, then you're going to waste a lot of time. You're going to waste a lot of money because you're trying to figure it out. And then also the third one is knowing who you're marketing to. And by knowing your marketing and who you're marketing to, that's just going to put you in a better position. Because if you don't know who your market is and who you're marketing to, and you don't know your numbers, you're going to waste a lot of time and a lot of money. So let's dive a little deeper. Know your market. So what does that mean? We like to call the term the avatar. Who is your avatar? And people are like, I don't know what that means. So basically an avatar is just your dream client. Who would you like to be your client? Like if you close your eyes and you think, what kind of person pops in your head? And for most people, they say, oh, I can target to everybody. Everybody's my target audience. Everybody's in my market and I can serve everybody. And though that may be true, that is not the best way to plan and to scale your business because everybody is not walking in your doors. So if you figure out who that ideal client is and you picture them in your head, like have an exact person, what that person looks like, what that person desires, what that person wants, instead of trying to market to everybody. So if you say, I can market to men and women, yes, you probably can, but let's just start with one first. Let's just sell. We have the term sell to one, right? If you sell to one, then you can sell to many. But first, you have to start with that one person. Who is that one person that would definitely buy your target, your product or your service? And start there, and then we can scale from there. But if we just go for, everybody, then you end up with nobody. That's like throwing out a net and saying, I want everything, right? So you say you throw out a net and you want shrimp, and then you want crab, and then you want, you might want bass, and then you want something else. Let's say a shark gets in there. So you pull that up and you say you want all that stuff. Well, the shark ate all the stuff and then the shark got out your net. So you have nothing now. So you really need to figure out what it is that you're looking for so you can target them specifically. So that way you get more bang for your buck and you actually get that target that you're looking for and not necessarily just getting everybody, because everybody is not your market. And everybody just means that they may buy from you, but that doesn't mean that they're going to continue to buy from you over and over again. So that's the reason why you're looking for that dream client, that ideal client, that one that you know that you can cater to and take care of, and they will stay with you for life. So if you think about it, let's talk about your bank, right? Who is your bank? Who do you bank with, right? Like I bank with Bank of America. I want to change. I'm probably going to change, but for now I bank with Bank of America. Asia has been with Bank of America for over 20 years. People are creatures of habit. So if you get your ideal client and your ideal target audience, they will stay with you for a very long time if you know exactly what they want, right? If you know exactly what they want, you'll keep buying from them over and over and over. If not, then you'll get somebody who'll come in now and then they'll leave. And they'll come back and then they'll leave. So that's going to be one of the big parts of your, did I get it right? Okay. That's going to be one of the main things for you to look out for, like who is your target audience, because that's going to play a really big part. Can y'all hear me okay? I just want to know because I'm not seeing no messages. Just let me know, please. I don't see no messages. I don't know if I'm doing this right. Okay. So then the next thing is going to be your, like a lot of people will talk about your family and your friends. Like, well, my family doesn't support me and my friends don't support me. However, your family and your friends, they're great, but they're not your ideal clients, right? Because they're going to buy from you But over time, they're not going to stay continuously buying from you, right? Because even over time, you get a brand new car, and the brand new car is great, right? For a year or two, and then over time, it kind of loses its touch, right? Because it was good when you had it, right? And so now that you've had it so long, you're like, it's okay. It kind of fades in the background. So the same thing with your family, your friends, they love you, and they're going to support you in the beginning. However, if you, like I said, if you have a cake business, your cake may be great, and your cake was great every Thanksgiving, but I don't necessarily want it every week moving forward, right? So now I want something different. So your family and your friends are good to kind of test things out with in like maybe your tester markets to just start off with, but they're not going to be the ones that kind of sustain with you and stay with you for a long, long time. So that is something to be looking for. So that's why we're always looking for our avatar and our ideal clientele. So that way we can stay in this for the long haul. Thank you. Can you hear me okay? Let me know if you can hear me. Okay. And so the next thing I want to talk about is, what does your business have that stands out, right? So in business, even if you think about some of the long-standing businesses that you have, like the Cracker Barrel, right? Cracker Barrel has that like store in the front, right? So they have all these candies and things. So that's what sets them apart from most other businesses, because you can go in and buy different things. When you go to Texas Roadhouse, they have that special butter, and then they have the peanuts, right? And you can eat your peanuts and throw them on the floor and, just be as messy as you want to. So that's why people like Texas Roadhouse. So what does it that your business, your product or your service, what does it have that is special, that is unique to you and only to your business that they come for? Because that's going to be part of your branding. That's going to be part of your image. And that's going to be what's one of the main things that attracts your audience to you. So look for that. What is that thing that you possess that nobody else does? Because yes, there are so many things out there. There are so many products out there. There are so many services out there. And there's so many different things that people could pick from. But they want you. They want your product. They want your service. So what is it that you're going to provide them so that they keep coming back over and over and over and over again? Yeah. Okay. And then the last part of this is the survey. What are you attracting, and how are you getting to your target audience? Well, for most of marketers, we tend to do surveys, and we survey our people. And what does that mean? That means if you're surveying your people, you're asking them questions. And by asking them questions, you'll know whether or not they're your target audience, and also how to keep them your target audience, right? Like, let's say I'm in pizza, right? If I'm doing pizza, I was talking to my best friend about this the other day. If I'm selling pizza, and what other things could I partner with, or who could I partner with that my potential client or customer may like? Like, it could be different foods, but it could also be other businesses. Because think about this. If I have a pizza company, and most of the times people either they'll go pick up their pizza or they get delivered, right? So, but if I'm going to pick up my pizza, what am I doing in the process? I'm in my car. So because I'm in my car, who else can I partner with that may also do business in the car? Well, maybe it's Sirius FM. Maybe it's like some kind of satellite radio or something. So think about different things that you could partner with that could help kind of potentially help your branding, but also help your audience. Because remember, I said your audience are people who are attracted to you and what you have to offer. And so by attracting them to you and what you have to offer, they'll keep coming back if you keep giving them things that they like, right? Like I just told you, I've been with Bank of America for 20 years. People are creatures of habit. So if you do something that they like, they'll tend to stay with you. So by surveying your people and asking them what it is that they like, what it is that they're drawn to, just simple questions, right? Like if you look at some of the surveys that you attend or that you fill out now, they may ask you, Who do you bank with? Who are your providers? YouTube does it all the time. However, YouTube does it very subtly. They may ask you like one question in between the ads, right? Like, hey, who do you know? Do you know anybody on this list? Do you know Shopify? Do you know this? Do you know that? Do you know that? And those are quick little ways to survey your people. So they may just be one little question, but that survey means something. So as you continue to go through your surveys, you'll start to be able to narrow down your audience just based on the survey and what they say and what they resonate with. They'll tell you what they want to do. They'll tell you what they want to know. They'll tell you what they like. You just have to ask the question. It's all about the questions that you ask. And if you ask the right questions, then you get the right answer. Second thing is know your numbers. So knowing your numbers is a big, big part of having a business, right? Because most people, they just don't know that. And so I will have clients and I say, hey, what is your, what are you trying to get out of this? And they'll give me I don't know. And so they just throw a number out there. Well, from a marketing perspective, from a business perspective, from an entrepreneur perspective, that is a red flag to us. That means that you really are not sure. That means that it may potentially be more of a hobby than a business because you have not figured out what that looks like. And if you don't figure it out fast, then you may end up upside down. So that's why it's really important for you to figure out what your numbers are. And you may say, I really don't know. I don't know what that means. And that's fair because this is new to you, right? That's why we have coaches. That's why we have mentors. That's why we have people to help us in this regard because we don't know exactly what our numbers are. So I want to break that down for you a little bit. What are your expenses? What are your monthly expenses? What are your yearly expenses? So let's say for me, I pay for Zoom, right? I have my marketing software. I pay for my phone. I pay for my internet, right? So all of these are numbers that I have to be conscious of. I have to keep track of because I have to keep all of them. So it's not that I just throw out a number. I need to know what these numbers are so that I can put them down on paper. So that way I can backtrack and figure out the number that I really need to charge. Because I can't just throw out a number and not know exactly where I'm going to land. Let's say I have employees, right? I have one employee and I need to know exactly how much I'm going to make so that way I can take care of him, right? If I don't know my numbers, then I can't pay him. And so that's not a good look and it's not a good feeling. And I know a lot of you may be hesitant to bring on employees and have, and you may think, I'll just do everything myself. Well, the risk you take when you do everything yourself is you're going to run yourself thin. You've heard entrepreneurs talk about 80-hour work weeks and stuff. In the very beginning, it's a lot of work. However, you're going to want to start to find people who are going to help you take some of this workload off of you. I've always heard if they can do about 80% of what you can do, then you need to hire them so that way you can get 80% more stuff done. And it's not that they have to do a full-on 8-hour day, 5 days a week. It has nothing to do with that. They can just simply work, just pay them well, but they can just work for you for a few hours a day or a few hours a week. But that will free you up some time to be able to focus on other things. Being able to let some of that go, being able to delegate and be able to release that stuff is going to help you in the long run. And it's going to help your brain kind of function better because you'll know exactly what it is that you are trying to accomplish, as opposed to just being stuck trying to finagle all this stuff by yourself. That is a lot of work. So if you can find somebody that can take some of that off of your hands, even if it's 3 hours, 4 hours a week, just to start. It doesn't have to be anything major, but that will free you up some time and you'll start to see things in a different light. And it allows you to be more creative with what you're offering. It allows you to be more creative in your products and your services. And by having a different person look at your stuff, it gives you a different perspective, because from their eyes, they may see something that you're not seeing because they're kind of essentially like outside looking in at first. And so the things that you may be doing wrong, they may be able to help you correct. So I highly recommend that you do start to look into finding some help. Okay. Now, we talk about LTV quite often in the entrepreneur space. And so LTV means lifetime value. So what is the lifetime value of your client or your customer? This is very important for you because this is going to dictate how well your business runs and how well you need to market to your people. If let's say your lifetime value is every 6 months, like they come in for a good 6 months and then they drop off. So what does that mean? Does that mean that they come in and is it they get tired of my product? Is it that means that they get tired of my service? Is it that mean that they feel like, hey, I've seen it all, I've done it all, there's nothing really left for me to do? Does that mean that maybe my marketing is off and I'm not offering them something else? Maybe that means I don't have a membership, right? Maybe the membership ends in 6 months and I don't have something creative to keep them and hold them on to the next thing, to start them again or the process again. Or is it that I'm not presenting my services in a way that keeps them up? Maybe I'm doing like one tier. Maybe I don't have a second level for them to get to, so they drop off. So really figuring out who what your lifetime value of that person or that client is, so that way you can market better. Like, hey, if I know that my market is every 6 months or so, then I need to start marketing again every 5 or every 4 or 5 months in, so that way I can get new clients in as the other ones cycle out. And then also, remember we talked about surveying. So surveying them and kind of figuring out, hey, why do they drop off at every 6 months? Like what's happening in that time frame that they're doing that. Next thing I would talk about is the 12-week year. So there's a book called 12-week year. And basically it means that instead of doing something in 365 days, you can condense that down and you can do it in 3 months. So basically you do it in 12 weeks and then they give you like 1 week extra to kind of tie up loose ends. So if you work on that pattern, instead of you waiting a whole year to get something done, you do small little goals in those 90 days, and that equates to 1 year. So basically, if you have 365 days, you can figure out what it is that you are trying to accomplish, and then you could duplicate that over and over again. So instead of doing it in 365 days, you're doing it in 90. So it's essentially like 4 years in 1 year. That keeps you more productive. That keeps you more on target. That keeps you more focused and diligent into what you're looking for and what you're trying to accomplish, what you're trying to do. So I look at the 12-week year. And so if I look at my calendar, I am technically, by that standard, I am on week, what's today? 22nd. Okay, so I am on week 5, year 9. So based on the 12-week year, I am year 9, week 5. And so that's kind of how I run my business on the 12-week year, so that I make sure that I stay productive, stay focused, and I'm able to get more done in a shorter amount of time, as opposed to planning out, even though I may plan out my year, but I'm planning out my years in small chunks. And so for me, like, let's talk my numbers. So I do a VIP intensive, and that's the link that I have at the bottom. My VIP intensive is $9.97. And so for $9.97, you get 3 hours with me where I will break down the 3 of these. You will get a strategy, and we'll break down your marketing and figure out if you do have a business or a hobby and what that really looks like and how to strategize on how to make that work, right? I will ask you a series of questions. We will narrow down who your avatar is, who they are, what they want, what are their likes and dislikes, what are they passionate about, and really tailor that down. Like it almost becomes kind of like a funnel over time. And so if you know exactly what your number is, you know how to get to the target that you're trying to reach, right? We call it reverse engineering. If I know my number is here, then I can work backwards and get to the goal that I'm trying to look for, right? Like I said, let's say, for an instance, my business does, in terms of how much my expenses are. Let's say my expenses are $3,000, right? If my expenses are $3,000, but I want to make a certain amount on top of that, then I have to equate the $3,000 into my budget and then project that out over that year time frame. And so I said, okay, for that, if I have to do 3,000, but I want to keep 6,000, so then that means I need to do 9,000, right? So in the month, I need to do 9,000 in the month, or 10,000 in the month, to make it a nice even number. And so that way I'll know projected wise, okay, then I need to do so many VIP intensives over that time frame to get to the number that I'm looking for. So by working backwards and reverse engineering, it will help you to just figure out what you are looking to accomplish and what your goals are. So that's another thing. Let's jump to number 3, knowing your marketing and knowing how to market to your people. Like, where are they? Like, where are they located, right? So your marketing is going to be very important because you're going to have to market them a lot. The average person, we tend to market 7 to 20 times. And so think about social media. Think about how much people just scroll and scroll and scroll and scroll. If you're scrolling all the time, it's going to take you a while to get noticed, right? So that's why that's why you see so many emails. And I'll come back to emails in a minute. But when you see somebody who's constantly putting stuff out there over and over and over again, it's because they know that in order for people to do business with them, people have to know who they are. They have to see you multiple times. It is not that they see you one time and they say, hey, that's it, I like that, I'm definitely going with that. That's usually not the way that it works. Usually, most people say, oh, okay, that's pretty cool. And then they go on about their day, and then they see it again. Oh, that's pretty cool. And they go on about their day, and they see it again. And so over time, they will start to gravitate towards you. But it's not that they gravitate to you usually at the first time, right? It's over and over again. The average is 7 to 20 times or 7 hours. So if you notice, you may be on a lot of challenges. Like I do like a lot of challenges for marketing, like 5-day challenges. And the reason why people, now it's a secret, right? But the reason why there are so many like 5-day challenges is because if I have your attention and I have you for 5 days and I do an hour a day, that is 5 times that you've already seen me. And so even if I do, maybe you decide that you do the VIP with me and I do a 5-day challenge and the VIP is an hour before. So now you have 10 hours, right? So you have the hour before, which is the VIP, and then you have the regular actual challenge, which is most challenges that I attend now. And that's 10 hours. So I've already kind of met that quota, right? For that 7 to 20 average time. And because they've seen you and been entranced by your marketing and whatever you have to offer for that long amount of time, they're more apt to do business with you. So this is some of the ways that marketers tend to try to get your attention and keep your attention, by doing challenges, by putting their stuff out there over and over and over again. And then they're just targeting you. And sometimes they're doing retargeting as well. So these are ways that you get out. And then also you're trying to figure out who they are and where they are. So for us, I also do a lot of concerts. And when I do concerts, we say, hey, 90 days or more is our sweet spot. If you try to market to your client, to your service, and so let's say you have something that's major, like a concert, right? So you're trying to get anywhere from 2,000 to 7,000 people to come to your concert or event. That's a lot of people. And most people don't like to travel they don't like to go to places like concerts and events by themselves. They want to have people with them. So if you think about it, if it takes an average of 7 to 20 times for them to know, like, and trust you, right? To understand what it is that you're offering, and then they're going to come in groups, they have to have time to talk about this stuff with their friends and their family. So imagine they come in and they talk to their friend or their family, right? And they say, hey, so-and-so's coming to town. You thinking about going? Like, oh, that's cool. I didn't even know. And then they go on about the day. They don't even think about it for like maybe another 3 weeks. And then they see it on the TV, right? And they say, oh, I forgot that so-and-so was coming to town. And then so, maybe I call my sister and say, hey, so-and-so's coming to town. Are you thinking about it? Like, oh, yeah, I'm thinking about it. I may have to get so-and-so to watch my kids, right? Okay, and then you leave them out. And then 3 weeks later, you think about it again. Hey, did you ask so-and-so about your kids? Oh my God, I forgot. I'm so glad you reminded me. I think I can get off that day. So let me go back and ask them if they can watch my kids. And then so by that third time, which is, a month and a half, 2 months in, now they've decided that they're going to come to your event. So you need that leeway time so that they can really kind of just take the time to absorb it, right? You want them to come to the realization on their own. However, you need to continue to put it out there in their face so that they know that it's happening, so they don't forget. So a lot of times, if your event is not successful, it generally because you didn't do enough marketing, or you didn't do the right kind of marketing to the people to know where they are and what they're looking for, right? Like, you have to know the market that you're in. Let's say you have a small town. Well, a small town probably does more mom and pop stuff than your average, and everybody may be on social media. However, they're probably going to more church stuff, more festivals. Because they're a small town and everybody knows everybody, you need to get with the key people who are in those towns, in those cities, right? Start with those people who hey, JJ knows everybody. So you would start with JJ because JJ knows so many people, and start from there and kind of build out from there. And knowing exactly where they are and what they like in terms of, do they do flyers? Do they like email ads? Or even not even, I'll go back to email. Do they like billboards? Like, what catches their attention the most? And then start with that. Are they radio? Are they TV? Start with that and figure out where they are located, and how can you get the most out of what you're spending. And by surveying them, they'll tell you where they're at, where they like, and where they congregate the most, right? So let's get back to email. So email marketing, we don't talk about it enough, but for marketing, that is a very, very lucrative thing if you understand it and if you know how to work it and how to run it. For every person on your email list, essentially, that counts as $1 per month. So let's say you have 1,000 people on your email list. If you have 1,000 people on your email list, if you do it right, it should bring in $1,000 per month based on that number. So you should have $1 per person. Now, obviously, everybody's not going to spend money with you. However, if you're sending out emails on a consistent basis and you're sending out value to them, right? You're having them subscribe. You're talking the things that they want to know about. You're sending them tips. You're sending them different things that they resonate with. They're more apt to do business with you, right? And because you have their ear, meaning their inbox, you go directly to them. You bypass the social media. you bypass all of this essentially the guards that kind of have all these walls up, right? Like social media has all these algorithms, right? So you may not see my post right now. You may not see it for a couple of days. You may not see it for a couple of weeks because of the algorithm. However, when you have somebody's email, you have their attention, and then it's a lot easier for you to gravitate to them. It's a lot easier for you to jump into their inbox. And as long as you get their attention and they click on the email, you're more apt to do business with them. We like to call it the hook story offer. If your hook is good, hey Cherise, if your hook is good, then that means they'll click on the email, the subject, right? So if they see that it's a good hook and it makes them like, oh, I really want to know more about this, right? So they'll click on it. Then if you go to if they're reading it, that's the story, right? So what is in the body of the email that you're having? What is it that you're saying that's attracting them? What is it that you're offering them? Are you telling them a story? Because people love stories. People love to put themselves in what you have in your story, in your offer. What are you going to say to them that makes them like, oh my God, that is so true. I so need this product. I so need this service, right? And then the offer is what they click on and what makes them purchase. So if they don't click on the email, then that means the hook is bad, right? So whatever you said in the subject line, it didn't stick. So they didn't click on it. But if they clicked on it and then they read the story, but they didn't click the offer, then that means the story is bad, right? So what did you say in the story that caused them to waver or caused them to second guess, right? So what is it that you wrote in there? Was it something misspelled? Was it something that kind of like started off good and kind of led astray? What is it that you put in there that made them kind of, okay, like they started off good, but then they kind of went astray. So we really have to fine tune that and figure out where did we go left in the story. And then if they clicked it and they said they liked the story and they clicked the offer, but they didn't purchase, right? Maybe the product, right, the cart is still full, right? But they didn't finish the purchase. So if they didn't finish the purchase, then now what does that mean, right? Why did they not finish the purchase? So now we have to go back, and that's why we reverse engineer things so we can figure out what that is. Why did they not click? Why did they not purchase that offer? What was wrong with the offer? Was it too short? Is it missing something? What is it that they need to fix? Or what is it that we need to fix, right? So that we can continue to do business together. And then the last thing is, who are your true fans, right? Like when you're marketing to people, who is it that you're really targeting? So the people that you already have may not understand some of the things that you're doing, right? Because they've already done business with you. However, if you're trying to reach a new target audience, a new market, then you may do things a little differently. So by doing that, are you going to potentially cause a strain on the relationship that you have with your already clients and your clientele? So these are some of the things that we talk about in marketing, that we talk about as business owners, as entrepreneurs. And this is some of the things that we look at is if it's a hobby or is it a business? Because if it's a business, then these are the things that you're going to need to streamline and really dig deep and really figure out. So that way we can move you from point A to point B and really get you started and get you some momentum and get your name out there, get your product, get your service out there. So that way you'll have a better chance at being successful in the long term. Because as I stated before, most businesses that start end within a year because they don't understand these metrics. They don't understand this part, and it causes a strain for them and their business. So if you are interested in any coaching, I myself am a coach. I do VIP intensives. Actually, if you click the link, you can sign up for my VIP intensive. It is $9.97. We are going to go through and we're going to really dig deep into your products, your services, We're going to look into your marketing. We're going to figure out what your numbers are. Basically, everything that I talked about today on this live, we really want to streamline that. We really want to look deeper into that and figure out if you have a hobby or if you have a business, and how we can really make sure that you're successful in it. And we can really make sure that this is something that you want to continue to do, right? Because this is something that a lot of people start in and they say they want to do, but they don't understand the struggles that come with it. And I really want you to be successful. We need more entrepreneurs like you in the world. We need more of what you have. We need more of your brand. We need more of your creativity in this world. And so this is the reason why I decided to do this live. Is it a hobby or is it a business? Because this is going to be something that you may want to do in the long haul for a long time. So just by looking at it and really streamlining that and figuring out, is it a hobby or is it a business? This will be the way to get you to the next step. So I hope you found this helpful. I want you to like and follow, share this live with anybody who is looking for a hobby or business, right? Share this with them and let them know. It's like, hey, these are the things that she mentioned on the live. These are the things you need to look into if this is something that you really want to do. Because most businesses just don't succeed because they just don't know this stuff. So I hope you found this helpful. If you are interested in my VIP intensive, I would love to have you. I want you to click the link and fill out the information, and we'll talk soon. Love you. Okay, chat soon.